intelligence, unless you're profiting from it, is in many ways a doom sentence. If that thought triggered you or sent your mind spiraling to the 9th degree, let's just take a deep breath together. Okay, now hear me out, and I promise you will feel more calmed, more better, and well equipped to go on with the rest of your day and the rest of your life after you watch this video. My intelligence and overthinking held me back so many times when I could have just applied it and gotten better results and made more money and just did a better job with my life, so to say. I'm probably not even that intelligent compared to a lot of people out there. Like, I think I'm in that beautiful sweet spot where I'm intelligent enough to pick up on things, but not intelligent enough to fully rationalize till the very end. So I kind of just do this delusional mix of worry and chaotic spiraling in my own head. Not a fun place to be. But I do feel like I've gotten way better at this over the years, and it started with me having awareness that the mind is actually not your best friend, let's just put it that way. And there's also a key secret that I don't feel like gets talked about quite enough, at least not in the content that I've seen. So I'm gonna tell it to you towards the end of the video, once I've explained a couple more basic things that are blocking you when you over rely on and overemphasize the reality of your thoughts, let's just put it that way. We're advanced beings, okay? Like, probably we are the S tier species in this advanced civilization, which is more advanced than it has ever been just due to the nature of time. There's just so much to think about, analyze, and rationalize all the damn time. And you know what? It also is, intelligence is something that people can profit off of. And so we are encouraged to sharpen our brains, use our minds, produce with our brains. It's great if you're not profiting from your intelligence. It's not great, because then your intelligence is probably just sabotaging you and reminding you of all the ways that you're not fully utilizing it. So this video is going to really help you in that scenario too. So just keep watching. And if you are really intelligent and profiting off of your intelligence, which also to some degrees we all kind of are, great, but you still don't need your mind 24/7. Your life would be much better lived if you just used your mind for like 4 hours a day and then just turned it off. Yeah, basically I think there's a case for anyone to turn off their intelligence sometimes and just get back more to the grounded physical intelligence of being, not the intelligence of mind. But I do believe there is kind of a divine and deeper intelligence, and that is great. Maybe that's a topic for another day. So I get it. There's so much to think about all the time, but just stop. You're doing too much again. Only use your mind when you're going to profit or be creating something of value from it. Don't use your mind and your intelligence reflecting back at you, at all the things you've done wrong, all the things you regret about your past, all the ways you're not living up to your potential. Just nip it in the bud. And I'm going to talk about more of how to break these thought patterns later on in the video. I also have some other videos about it. I've been sabotaged by my intelligent mind so many times. When I was going through some really challenging times in my personal life a few years ago, it would get to the point where if I let my brain just keep running, I would end up in bed just thinking, staring at the ceiling until my thoughts just literally spiraled out of control. I would spend hours doing that. It wasn't even like I was doom scrolling on social media. I was doom scrolling in my own thoughts. So just breathe, let go of your thoughts. Think about it this way from a totally non-scientific POV. But if you were to drop your mind off at a metaphorical daycare, your body would still be breathing. Your body would still get hungry, crave water. Your body would be functioning. A lot of us have the privilege of just being able to survive and be safe. Not all of us, but a lot of us are. That in itself is something to be not only be grateful for, but to take as a sign that you should allow yourself to just breathe sometimes. I'm just messaging my creative coach back right now because I was actually getting pretty discouraged before filming this video. I filmed a video before this and it got effed up because I was wearing a tube shirt, like a sleeveless shirt, but the crop was off for some reason, so it literally looked like I was not wearing clothing. So obviously it can't be posting that on the internet. So I just decided to scrap it, even though it was a really great video and I was really into the topic that I was talking about. So anyways, kind of had a long day. I was just messaging my coach about how I'm kind of like a little bit discouraged, but still decided I'm gonna film this video. Look at that, perfect timing. Perfect timing. Don't think, just do. But we'll get to that part later. If you just like let your mind go, dropped it off at a daycare when you didn't need it, your body would still be fine. And obviously this is a ridiculous analogy, but you know what I'm getting at here. So I'm gonna share the secret soon, and I really am curious to see if you agree with me or have ever experienced this insight. I wanna quickly talk about the 3 kinds of people that I observe in this world. I mean, there's many more, but let's just put them in 3 buckets just for simplification purposes. We all know the person in life that just has a preference towards action, right? Action biased people. They have very driven, directed energy. They don't overthink. We all know someone like this, right? The person in life that just does things. And it's almost like they don't think that much. It's like they're not troubled by thoughts. They're also usually kind of more like the extroverts of the world, etc. Okay, and then there's the type that's more of the intellectual, rational thinking type. They spend a lot of time up here. They think before they speak, they think before they act, they think before anything and everything. These are 2 types. And then there's the chaotic type that's like a thinker and a doer, but it's a little bit chaotic because sometimes they do things and then overthink it, and sometimes they don't do anything and overthink it. So I guess we can just call this type the overthinker type. I would put myself in this category. Nowadays, I think I'm much more balanced because I, for periods of my life, was living in this zone where all I was doing was thinking, but I'm not even as smart as most thinking type people, so it just didn't really work for me. So now I'm kind of like in a better balance where I do a lot and I think less. The place that you really don't want to be is just thinking about everything and actually doing nothing, because then you're not profiting from your intelligence. I use profiting very generally, profiting as in gaining, and it doesn't have to be money. It can just be gaining anything. You're not gaining any life experience in this echo chamber of your own mind. You're not actually learning anything new. You're not gaining any self-confidence because you don't have any actions to validate yourself. It's all just minds. It's all just words and thoughts in your head. You're not gaining money because you're probably in your bed spiraling like I was for many years of my life. Yeah, the place you don't want to be is there. It's just thinking and not getting anything back for the amount that your brain is churning. I personally just don't find this a very fun space to be. The great thing is that all it takes for you to get out of the space is just by taking some action and turning off some thoughts. It's very simple. You can make the shift right away. It's very simple. You don't necessarily need to take medicine. I mean, I am not a licensed therapist, and obviously each person's mental health case might vary, but for me, in my experience, I just didn't believe I needed medicine to get better, and lo and behold, I was right for the most part. You don't need anything crazy. You don't even need to move or change your life drastically. All you need to do is take some actions and turn off some thoughts that are not benefiting you. The thing about intelligence is that I think it helped us survive, but again, the people that are really making the most advancements in society and in history, they are probably ultimately profiting from their intelligence. And that's okay because you've probably figured some things out and you likely have a good degree of self-control and mastery over your own life, your lifestyle, and experience. But again, this video is more for people that are not really gaining from their intelligent thought. So in these cases, the thinking and your intelligence, which you are not putting to a good cause, if it's just stuck echo chambering in your head, it does serve a purpose, which is to soothe you and make you feel like you have some sort of control and power over things, but that's really futile in this world. Believe me, I wish I had more control over what happened in my life. Deeper things like how long I will live. But the reality is I actually have 0 ounce of control over any of that. It's futile. And so for you, this is a hard pill to swallow, but it's just better if you think less. Unless you're literally writing a dissertation or an inauguration speech for the next president of the United States, just you'd do better if you think a little less, okay? You don't have a finely tuned motor machine killer of a brain because you think so much. That comes from experience and balancing mental activity with action and empirical evidence that comes as a result of your action. So yeah, you don't have this superior mega brain because all you do is sit around in your room and think in your headspace. You actually might have some anxiety and procrastination tendencies. And I'm not throwing shade right now. I'm really not. Like, I understand how hard it is, and I was there myself for a really long time. And I actually just needed people to put some sense into me, knock some sense into me, and really show me how my intelligence and thoughts were sabotaging me and holding me back from my potential. And no, that person was not a therapist that told me that. It was actually someone who was pretty successful in business, and I think just had a lot of understanding of life. So no, I'm not throwing shade at you right now. I'm making this whole video with compassion for you, for myself, for just overthinkers and deep minds out there. I want us to profit, whether that's in a material or just experience sense, to use your intelligence for good instead of sabotage and bullying yourself in your head. Really, that's what you're doing. And the anxiety that comes from overthinking is a pattern. It's a neurological pattern, and it's a comfort. It's literally like you get addicted to overthinking. And so the more you do it, the harder it is to snap yourself out of it. But it's something that I actively trained myself to be aware of and to step away from. And I had to do this over the course of years and doing a lot of mindset work, getting really good coaches and mentors and therapists depending on the stage of my life, which has led to my life being so much better now. It's not perfect. I still have days where I overthink, but I'm way better able to push it away, do self-care, do whatever I need to do. Most of the times it's taking action, like filming this video. I was overthinking things because I went out to downtown and I was like, why do all these rich people look so miserable, and why is the energy just bad today? And I was upset about my YouTube video flop earlier, and so I was probably projecting some things outward as well, but it was just like all this unnecessary overthinking, and I was like, Allie, just snap out of it. Just do something. And now I feel better. So status update, I feel much better. And it didn't come from being in my bed overthinking everything. And if you're still watching, yay, because I'm about to share the secret that took me years of hard knock school to learn. Let me break this down for you in the simplest way. As you're spending time overthinking every possible outcome with your intelligent brain, guess what else is happening? Time is moving forward. People, especially the actors and doers of this world, they are out there doing things. Society, the collective consciousness, all of it is moving forward. The rest of your life, the world around you still goes on, no matter how many bajillion thoughts are going around in your head. All the conclusions and rationalizations that your intelligent brain just spent so much time and energy coming up with, because yeah, mental energy is still energy. All the conclusions that your intelligent brain just came up with, all the different possibilities and expected values of different outcomes, none of that matters anymore by the time you've reached a conclusion. And by the way, your conclusion is based on literally nothing real because your thoughts and mental patterns are not real. It's too late. The secret is that there is a window of time for action, and it's very narrow. And the people that have a good balance of thinking and doing, they're able to recognize the window of time to act and act. And usually that brings them more success, more opportunities, and they're on this positively upward reinforcing cycle. But the people, like maybe you, like maybe me on some days, and definitely the younger version of me, the people who are just overthinking, we're just seeing the potential of acting. We're never acting, we're just thinking. And by the time we've thought through everything, that window of action is long gone. And so we constantly feel like we're falling behind. We constantly feel like we're missing out on things. We're constantly beating ourselves up because why? Why are we living like this? It's exhausting. See, like, our minds are really powerful tools. They built this civilization out of nothing. I didn't contribute that much. other people's minds did most of it. But our minds can wreak havoc if they're the ones actually running the ship. Think of your mind as a tool and not as the ultimate essence of you. Before I get to the secret of how you use your brain to bring you on a positively reinforcing upward spiral instead of a negatively spiraling downwards one, there's a secret that I've developed and experienced in my own life. Really, truly, Pareto principle, you'll get 100% further in life if you just take 20% of the ideas in your mind that you think could improve your life right now and just do some of them. The consequences are never as bad as gets played out in your mind. And yeah, sometimes you'll suck at things, and sometimes you'll do the wrong thing and embarrass yourself. And guess what? Join the club, because we literally all do that. No one is immune to that. And by being a doer, you'll find yourself supported by actually more positive, lighter people who encourage you to do more things instead of overthinkers who are just constantly projecting their thoughts everywhere onto you, onto your actions and choices in life. It's just like way more complicated than it needs to be. So before we end this video, I'm gonna just share a couple of tips that'll help you step out of intelligent brain mode and into dumb action mode. See, isn't that funny? We can assign all these value judgments, but you know what? At the end of the day, sometimes an In-N-Out burger and fries just hits more than an expensive steak dinner. Intelligent brain mode sounds good, dumb action mode sounds not as great, but at the end of the day, pick the dumb action mode. It's actually gonna get you further in life. And if you're intelligent, pair the capabilities of your brain with direct action, and you'll be in a much better place even more. Again, your brain is a great tool. It is not a great driver of the ship that is your life. So here are a couple of other small tips or ways you can think about this topic. For me, I'm very conscious of ego, and too much mind always brings ego because you're so self-absorbed with yourself and what you're doing all the time. You're just thinking about yourself and judging yourself all the time. And too much ego leads to a life of suffering that you can't escape unless you change. So personally, I try to stay really aware around my mind-driven behaviors, because your mind, being very closely tied to the ego, is very hungry. And again, the last thing I want to just reiterate is you need to start thinking about overthinking and overanalyzing as a non-helpful habit that you need to actively break. Unless you're having fun with it, that you're probably profiting from it, that's kind of a different story. There's a different nuance and context around that. Most cases, when you're overthinking and not acting, it's just a non-helpful habit that you need to break. It's essentially a bad habit. It's not helping you. And with our limited time and resources, if something's not helping you in some capacity, why is it there? Hopefully you're still breathing at the end of the video. Remember what I said about there being a time window for action. Really, if you're gonna do it, do it. If you're not going to do it, don't spend another second thinking about whether or not you should do it. Just cut it off and don't do it. Or write it down, store it for another day. Don't spend too much time up here. Sending out so much love to you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.